That's what our work's about all the time. Yeah? Really experiencing it in our action. Okay, so what we're going to do for the rest of the morning is I thought it might be really great to have another go at this with another different person. Yeah, what we were doing yesterday. Yeah, so again, just to go through it, you started observing the person in sitting. So you were observing them in sitting. If it was me here sitting, you'd go, oh, where's Julie's pelvis? Where's a weight? Yeah. Where's a head? So with me sitting just here, if I went to lift my arm, which way do you think I might move my pelvis? I'm going to lift my right arm. Go forward. Yeah. So what I want you to add in, Charlie, can you come and have a sit? It won't work really, and you'll be better on the tables or the stools to do this, but what we didn't add in was just you being able to feel, can they move their pelvis in sitting? Yeah. So what does their pelvis do? So with Vishali, I can have, actually we'll bring it to the middle so they can see a little bit more. Actually, let's use a stool and they can see even more. So if you want to have a sit there, Charlie. Maybe, what's easiest, Jen? Side on maybe? Side on maybe. Yeah. So, you know, Vishali's come in and she's sitting there. So what do I notice if you want to come and have a look? What are some of, do you mind us making observations? Vishali? So what do we notice about, first of all, basic contact with the ground? Where's her weight? Is it more on a pelvis or on a feet, or does it look like it's sort of distributed between them? More on the left or the right? Yeah, and you're going to see more depending on what, yeah, where you are in space. Where do you feel it, Vishali? Pelvis to the right. Huh? Well, she's more, yeah, so if you're talking about a pelvis there, she's definitely pretty much over her sit bones. Yes. So if you stand here and look at your toes, it looks like your ankles aren't, your heels aren't on the ground. Do too. That's feel and what you guys see. And the thing is, you're just making an observation. The thing that will always tell me is going to her pelvis. That's going to be the thing that will tell me where her weight. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So she's sitting here, and now if I put my hands on her pelvis, where do you think her weight is? No. Okay. So what am I doing here? I've got a question that I've formulated in my mind about I want to feel how Vishali takes weight on the chair. So that question I've got is determining where I put my hands. So I'm not just coming in here just putting my hands on the pelvis. I've actually got a question. That's determining absolutely my touch. Whereas if I just went in there and said, I want to find Vishali's pelvis, I can feel that's too big a question for me to do anything with. But if I want to feel it in relationship to the weight bearing, and again, what I feel is that I've got her, and now I can feel the weight because I'm feeling a little bit for the ground, and I'm still not really clear where it is. So I'm going to move it a little bit because that is what's going to help me. So where do I feel And when she goes forward a little bit, if I talk through what I'm doing, I'm going to say, Vishali, when I take you forward, cardinal direction. When I take you forward, it feels like your weight goes a little more to the left as you go forward. Do you feel? No, don't make it happen. Is that your experience, or do you feel something different? Mm-hmm. That gives me a lot of information. With what I'm feeling and what Vishali is feeling. I'm feeling that she goes across to her left.
Guiding me.
Yeah, I'm going where her pelvis goes easily. Yeah. Because it can't go straight forward. If I try and go on an absolute straightforward trajectory, yeah, because it can't go. No? So I'm feeling, and that's the thing about direction, as I said, you've got to keep your options open. So I'm just feeling, where does she go?
What part of her sacrum?
I'm right on. I've got her sacrum, absolutely. But again, you're going to have to find what suits the person you're with. I'm just inside those two big bones at the back of the pelvis. But someone else, I might be. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Again, it's not ready to come back. Can you feel that, Vishali? So from her pelvis, I know Vishali can come backwards, but she can't initiate it from her pelvis. So if I say, Vishali, come backwards, roll backwards. Yeah. Something here moves backwards. And then her pelvis goes. So her pelvis is responding to the movement of further up, but it can't actually initiate the movement. Not good or bad, this is just information. And then so again, I know, yes, so she definitely wants to head across a little bit to the left. Okay. Vishali, could you now move your pelvis forward and back? And now I'm getting a sense of whether I'm just going along for the ride, and I can feel how much work Vishali does in here and here to move her pelvis. So I can tell her pelvis is the responder, not the initiator. Could you go a little bit left and right, Vishali? Nothing really happens in a pelvis. So there's a lot happening through here. Because that's just where she sat down, and I don't feel her legs are in the way there. Yeah? Yeah? There's not weight on them. Yeah? So I'm just working out where her pelvis. Really common with a lot of the people, you'll see that their pelvises don't do much. Yeah? So get used to it.
So can I just ask some clarification on when you asked that question with your hand? So when you observed her, it wasn't clear to you what direction. So it makes sense to me that when you placed your hands on her, you were asking a question about an intentional question. What if you observed and, for example, she was in your mind clearly going to the right? How do you engage yourself to?
It's me knowing my neutral. Yeah? So if I'm here, and this is where self-use is paramount in this work, if I'm here, I've got the directions available. So I can do the tiniest movement and feel, is she ready to go?
No.
Can you feel that? It's just a suggestion, really, isn't it? It's not that I'm moving up.
Still asking the question without the intention of moving to the right.
It's a suggestion. Is that a possibility? Is that direction a possibility?
How come if you would have a sore back?
I haven't got a sore back.
And I'm just saying, if you would have a sore back, wouldn't that alter your
Absolutely. I wouldn't be in this position working if I had a sore back.
That would so much alter what you feel.
Well, you wouldn't know. It wouldn't alter what you feel because you would not put your hands on someone if you couldn't find your neutral. And that's not to do with pain. I've worked with pain, but I know that I can still find neutral and that I'll stay absolutely within very small movements. You know, if you ever, and I don't, unfortunately, I think there's Jen, you might know with the IFF, are there many videos of Mark Rees doing FIs? Any videos? Yeah. Because he was brilliant. Oh my God. His work, his FI work. Oh, Mark had some major car accidents. He was the person who's written the biography of Feldenkrais. He worked within these small movements because he couldn't, because of his back injuries, do the big movements, say, that Frank does through space, and that. But because he knew his neutral, his handling was beautiful. So it's not to do with whether, you know, people will often say to me, how can I be a Feldenkrais practitioner if I get pain? And I'll say, do you know how to stay within your quality range? Do you know how to stay when movement is easy for you?
So obviously everyone's neutral is different, and obviously if he's been in a lot of car accidents, his neutral would be altered perhaps because of that. So
not his neutral, his size of neutral. You know?
He didn't have a lot of range, but
But what he did, it was absolutely stunning. It was stunning. And then you'd watch someone like Dennis Leary, who, you know, this black belt karate expert working, and I've never felt anyone with the hands he had to go down with one vertebra at a time through your head, and he'd go, well, there's that one. How does that move? What about this one? Where does that one go? Okay, now this one. Where does that one go? Because his self-use was so exquisite. Huh? His head was free. His pelvis was ready to lift. So his ability to make those distinctions with these soft hands, this, you know? And as I said, look, if you want a role model, just watch Feldenkrais. Huh? It's like, you know, I don't know if you noticed today, you know, he has the most beautiful limp. It's just this.
and he feels for the ground before he sits down and he checks that.
Yeah, and he's sitting down, you know, that exquisite ability to go down and where's the chair, touch down. His self-use is stunning.
And he likes to get up and move because it makes his system come alive and he's thinking.
Yeah, and it's interesting. He loves to move when he's talking. You know, there's something about that ability that, you know, gives him more options. But yeah, so self-use is paramount to our work. And you're all going to find where, that's what you're looking for. Where can I find this quality in myself? And it's nothing to do with size of movement. Yeah. That's what you're honing your skill at. So you don't have to do big movements.
Perfectly fit and able to move in all directions. You just
Yeah, and that's why, you know, I'd really encourage you, all of you, to watch more FIs being done at lunchtime. We do them at lunchtime to actually give you the opportunity to watch them, to see how different people organise themselves. Yeah, to really see the different styles that people have, because they've found the self-use that works for them. And that's why every practitioner works a little bit differently. So anyway, I've got distracted again. So I feel that it's just a little bit easier if she goes a little bit forward and to the left is what I feel from her pelvis. So which arm would you like to lift? Charlie? So yeah, her pelvis does go forward, yeah, which is what I felt, that's, and again, as I said, I don't want you at the moment to get too caught up in does it go left or right, but there's absolutely, it's going forward. What do you do with your left arm? And she still goes forward. Yeah? So if I said to go back, to roll back on your pelvises, you can see the whole thinking process going, yeah, because that's unknown to her. I know that because I know a pelvis doesn't roll back easily. So I know that that's probably not going to be as easy an option for her. Okay, so does that make sense? You're just going to actually feel for the pelvis in sitting. Notice how they lift their arms. Then you're just going to go through this whole process again. So with Vishali, I'm going to put her in lying. I'm going to see the direction a pelvis feels easier in. I'd probably expect it to be a little bit down, but, you know, she might change because she's in lying. I'm going to position her legs. If she likes to go toward extension or arching her back, I would probably expect her legs to want to be a little bit longer, but they still might need just a little bit under them to make them lighter. I'm going to check that her hips are free. If her hips aren't free, her pelvis cannot be free. No, it cannot be. Then I'm going to check her feet are connected through to her hips as well. Yeah. Then, so we do that. We've positioned the legs. You can go back and check the pelvis. Usually the pelvis should be easier to move if you've put the legs in an easier position. That's what you'd expect. Then you're going up trajectory of the first rib and the shoulder girdle. Yeah? So what would I expect? If she's going into extension, I'd expect this probably to be getting wider and going back a little bit when she's on her back, and her chin to be coming down once she's on the floor. Yeah? So I'm going to just see that. Is that where she wants to go? Then I haven't put it in, I have put position the arms. So remember last time we then went with the position of the shoulder girdle to lift the arm, to find the lightness. We did it before the break, yeah? And to position the arms in a light position. So again, this should be easier. Then what would the head, neck, chin do with this position? And again, you can do that. I'm going to give you a fair bit of freedom there. You can just gently go along with the ride as they do the movement, facilitating the movement of their head. You might want to do a little bit with this in their head, but we can come around and help. You return to the pelvis. Are more directions available? They should be. Yeah? You come back to sitting, return to lifting the arm. It should be easier, and not only should it be easier, you should see the pelvis can go in more directions to facilitate the lifting of the arm. Yeah? And you can come back to see what their pelvis feels like too. Okay? You have got 25 minutes for the first pair. Work with someone you haven't worked with before.